What has been the defining moment in your life to make you what you are now, become a lifestyle specialist?
Me just battling cancer, going through cancer.
Wow.
Before before I diagnosed with cancer, I was just living life. I was just living life, enjoying life, and once I got cancer, it stopped. Life stopped, and it was a thing of me realizing once you hear cancer, the first thing coming to your mind is death. You know, and that's one of the things that showed me a difference in life. And
When growing up, Allen Iverson, who is predominantly a big star, not only in Virginia but around the world. Growing up, he used to come over to your house, and your mother, you didn't even have to be there, and your mother would cook meals for him. Is that true?
Yeah.
Is that true?
Yeah, my mom.
Wow.
My mom always, and that's why I get it from her, my strength. She always helped with my friends. Even when I went home, I'd be with my girlfriend. My mom always opened her house up to my friends because she said she'd rather for them to be in her house than to be outside tempting to do something wrong.
In the street.
So in the street,
All right, welcome to our podcast. My name is Moses Newsom.
And I'm Stefano Lewis.
Podcast name is 80 or 80,000. I'm excited to have our first guest. Stefano, you want to introduce our first guest, sir?
Yes, sir. The name of our podcast is 80 for 80,000, of course. And the concept behind it is basically most people just want to live to be older or older age and live to be 80. Our concept is, what are people doing to try to extend that life? What are you doing to try to live 80,000 years? What is your legacy going to be? What is going to be your goal as far as your faith base, how you live your life, and what are your expectations beyond life here on Earth? So we're excited about the first podcast, and our first person and our guest is going to be the one and only Demeric Kirk. Welcome, Demeric Kirk. What's going on, brother?
I'm going to hand the mic over to you, sir.
yeah.
Appreciate you coming.
Congrats on your first one, sir.
I appreciate that.
That's what's up, man. So Demeric was born in Tampa, Florida. He had a humble beginnings. He has a military-based family, which eventually landed him in Virginia. He went to high school out here in Virginia, which is pretty big because he went to Bethel High School. He was a sports athlete, sports star, very popular in school. And he also played with Allen Iverson, high school football, which is pretty amazing. Beyond that, Demeric Kirk went on to a professional career and doing a lot of business as far as in the area. He also did a lot of business, making a lot of money with a lot of different companies. And also what he's doing now, his title is Lifestyle Specialist, which is big, because most people don't operate in the title of something that's humbling as a lifestyle specialist. And what I get from lifestyle specialists is making sure that people live a certain lifestyle, and he specializes in that. So, DK, Demeric Kirk, welcome.
Thank you.
What has been the defining moment in your life to make you what you are now, become a lifestyle specialist?
Me just battling cancer, going through cancer.
Wow.
Before I diagnosed with cancer, I was just living life. I was just living life, enjoying life, and once I got cancer, it stopped. Life stopped, and it was a thing of me realizing once you hear cancer, the first thing coming to your mind is death. You know, and that's one of the things that showed me a difference in life. And the crazy part about it is once I was diagnosed with cancer, I I've been going to different doctors,
Right.
Centera, going different places, going to ear specialists. And the ear specialist kept giving me a dosage, saying, oh, just a bad earache.
Right, right, right.
So my job, I work for Google in this area, and my job transferred out of this area to Northern Virginia. And once I was up there, my daughter, she was came home from JMU. She went to James Madison, and one day we were just eating at the house, and I tried to go up the steps, and my equilibrium was off. And I said, "Man, what's going on?" I'm like, "Something's going on." So I went to get up again and fell down. You know, my balance was off. I said, "Something's wrong. I need to go to the hospital." Go to the hospital. Go to the hospital. Blood pressure real high.
Right.
And I said, "It's something with my ear. It has to be something with my ear." I said, it has to be something. So I get this, they admit me to the hospital. I get this young doctor. He comes in and they said, "Well, he got a bad ear." He said, "No, that's not it. That's not an ear." He said, "I see it. I see the mass. It's a tumor." He said, "I see it from here."
Wow.
So he said, "I see it." He said, "But what we're going to do is going to do a biopsy real fast, and we're going to see if it's cancerous." So that next week, I go to his office. Me, my mother, go to his office, and he says cancerous. So he like, somebody dropped the ball. He said, "But I'm going to put you in the best care that it is, doctors." So at that point, I was still in shock.
Right.
So I go home. You know, my daughter comes in the house because she's waiting for the results, and I tell her, she breaks down crying. So she's supposed to go on this cruise and with her friends. She didn't want to go. She wanted to stay up on her dad. So I prayed that day, and after that, I gave it to God, left it to God.
Yeah.
I ain't crying no more. I ain't think about it no more. Went to UVA. When I went to UVA, the doctors, Dr. Shankar, world renowned doctor as one of the rural specialists, and he said, the first thing I'm gonna tell you is I got to find out where it's at.
Right,
He
right,
said, because if it's spread anywhere, we just got to make you one that can make you comfortable.
right, right.
So did some more biopsies and stuff like that, and it stayed right here.
Wow.
And when it stayed right there, it's just he said, well, we're gonna do surgery and stuff. So you had to fly in about 2-3 different doctors, see what's going on. So at first I was supposed to be in surgery 12 hours.
Right.
Wow.
So at the 12-hour mark, they go out to my mom and say, "You know what? We're going to make sure we get all the cancer." So he's probably going to be in here about 19 hours.
Oh, wow.
So I get done with surgery, 19 hours. So my stepdad, I'm like, man, I start waking up. I was like, man, how long was I in surgery? He was like, 19 hours. I just started throwing up instantly.
Wow.
So I'm like, man, 19 hours. So the anesthesiologist, she'd been in the business for about 22 years. And she said, "Honey, in all my years, I've never seen a person get stronger by the hour."
Wow.
And I'm like, wow, so I'm in the hospital. So the next day, the physical therapist, because they took a piece of bone and nerve to put in my face. So I couldn't walk, I couldn't do anything. So the next day, a physical therapist came, and they was like, "Well, we're going to try to see if you can walk."
Right.
And I'm like, I'm just bad. I'm not going to be able to walk. So I get up, and they take me in the hallway, and I start walking. So I let go of the thing that was guiding me to walk. And he was like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, whoa." I was like, "No, I'm fine. I can walk."
Right.
So I walk all the way down the hallway. Doctors look at me like,
they're amazed, right?
Wait a minute. So comes the 4th day, and the doctor was like, "Well, we're going to see if you can walk up these stairs." So, because they was like, they didn't want to send me home because I had 3 flights of stairs in my house. So they didn't want to send me home. So I go walk up the stairs. So it goes from me probably having to be in the hospital for about 2 weeks to 4 days.
Wow.
So after that, I go home. Me and my mother doing the research. It's a thing called proton therapy that was coming out. It was new. I think it was only 3 centers on the East Coast, and it was like maybe 3 centers on the West. Hampton University in Boston and Baltimore was on the East Coast at the time. And I was had to get ready for chemo.
Mm-hmm.
So, and my mom was listening to the radio, and they said something about proton therapy is the new therapy.
The new thing.
Yeah, for cancer. So once I started listening to proton therapy, so I went to UVA.
Mm-hmm.
And I told my doctor, I said, he said, chemo's next. I said, what about proton therapy? He said, chemo's next. I said, proton therapy?
Right. Yeah.
He said, you're not going to get that because insurance don't cover it. It's a waiting list. You're just not going to get it.
Yeah.
Okay. So one of my friends called me and was checking on me.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, well, she's like, how you doing? I said, what's the next step? I said, I'm trying to, I got chemo, but I'm trying to get in proton. She said, well, niche. And I'm like, yeah, I used to take care in the club, buy sections and make sure she was good. She said, she runs the proton therapy in Hampton.
Oh, wow.
And I said, for real? She said, yeah.
Wow.
She said, give her a call. And she was like, I'm going to call her for you. So I give Nisha a call. She said, hey, DK, like, what's going on? I said, yeah. And I told her what was going on.
Right.
And I said, I'm trying to get proton therapy, but they saying it's a long wait. It's, the insurance company say, yeah, a lot of insurance don't cover it.
Right.
It's a long wait. She said, but you know what? What's your email?
Right.
I said, gave her my email. She sent the paperwork. She said, I'm going to call you tonight, and we're going to help you fill out the paperwork.
Mm-hmm.
And she called me that night when she got home, got settled. She said, hey, let's fill out the paperwork. So I filled out the paperwork. After we filled out the paperwork, she said, well, all you got to do is email this back to me, and I got you squared away. And I said, what does that mean?
Right.
What you saying? Squared away.
You're not going to have to pay a dime.
What?
You're not going to have to pay a dime. She's like, I got you covered.
Wow.
She said, but it's still about a 6-month wait to get in the point.
Okay.
So I'm like, man. So I'm like, still, I'm excited, but I'm still like, man, I got to get chemo within the next couple of weeks.
Right.
So the person that schedules, my parents in the military in Langley, the scheduler, we went to church together.
Okay.
Out Langley. So one day I'm at the house in Northern Virginia. She calls.
Mm-hmm.
She was like, can you get down here tomorrow? I was like, well, I can't drive. She had my surgery. She's like, can you get on the train? I said, yeah, I probably can get on the train. So she said, can you be here by 12? I said, yeah, I think I can. I checked the train. I said, yeah, I can get the train, get there about 11 something. She's like, come right here. Get on the train. Get there. She fits me in. After that, I go through to get my treatments for proton therapy.
Yeah.
Didn't have to pay $1. Then it was a $400,000 bill that I didn't have to pay. But that's from being a lifestyle specialist, taking care of other people.
Right.
You know how you say a lot of times how you want your blessings, how you want.
Right.
God gave me his blessings, how he wanted them through other people.
Absolutely.
That I was helping along my journey.
Absolutely.
That's why I call myself a lifestyle specialist.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. A lot of what I've heard was strength.
Yeah.
And, let's rewind it back a little bit because when I think about what you went through, I don't think the average person can go through that without breaking down.
Right.
Tell us a little bit about your childhood, how you got to that point, some of the things you went through as a child, because there's some strength that built up from there. Tell me a little bit about that, your upbringing.
My mom was a single parent. So with her being a single parent, it's always took a village back then to raise kids.
Yeah.
So while my mom was at work, I was with my grandmother or I was with some of, my friends, we call ourselves play cousins. So they took care of us. They pretty much, raised us. But also the strength comes from my mom because she wanted a better life for me. And all my cousins in Tampa, Florida were in the street, in the, doing things that they shouldn't be doing.
Right.
But my mom always said that she wouldn't subject me to that.
Right.
And that's when I ended up, military, moving to Rome, New York first. And a lot of my strength comes from my mom and seeing her, how she raised, and because, I never seen the struggle with my mom. And I never seen her, like, until I got older and said, she made it happen for her
Right,
son. It wasn't nothing, no sneaker, no nothing that she never got me,
Right.
but she made it happen. And I'm like, wow, like that's where my strength comes from. It comes from my mother.
Yeah.
Speaking of your mother, one thing I noticed, and if anybody is familiar with the Virginia area, DeMary does a lot of community work in the community. And recently, you had a New Year's Eve event, and I've met your mother 1,000 times.
Yeah.
I actually call your mother mom, and she actually, it was a moment there at the event that I thought was just it was life changing, and the moment was you came to me and you said that when growing up, Allen Iverson, who is a predominantly big star, not only in Virginia but around the world. Growing up, he used to come over to your house, and your mother, you didn't even have to be there, and your mother would cook meals for him. Is that true?
Yeah.
Is that true?
Yeah, my mom.
Wow.
My mom always, and that's why I get it from her. My strength. She always helped with my friends. Even when I went home, I'd be with my girlfriend. My mom always opened her house up to my friends because she said she'd rather for them to be in her house than to be outside tempting to do something wrong.
In the streets.
So in the street, Allen, Xavier, Tavares, all my friends, all some of my close friends, they'll be at my house even when I wasn't there. But that's just how my mom was. But she instilled that in me because even to this day, college students sometimes, moving in the Northern Virginia area, don't have no direction. Stay in the basement.
Right.
You good till you get yourself together.
Yeah.
Because I get it from her.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Like, it's okay to help people. It's okay to, because sometimes those helpings, you get your blessings in other ways. And that's how my mother, that's how she get her blessings. And I'll tell you a quick story. It's a friend. My mother, he used to come over our house and eat all the time. And we didn't know at the time that was his only meal of the day.
Wow.
And he moved in, DC area, graduated from Virginia State, got a beautiful family, got a wonderful job, doing great for himself. One day we're just having dinner over the house. He came over the house and gave my mom a check and said, thank you.
Wow.
And, that was something that we didn't even know. He said, those were some of my only meals that I had were at your house because we didn't have no food in the house.
How did that affect you? Because that's big. You weren't expecting that.
No.
It was a way of him giving back.
Yeah, there you go.
So,
it's a way of giving back. And that was just like a wow moment because you never know what you do for people.
Right.
You never know how you make an impact.
Right.
And those type of ways and giving back and you see and they be like, man, like I did make an impact.
Right.
Or, I did like, wow, I never knew that. Out of all these years we've been friends, he's never once said that. And he said, I didn't want to tell you because I wanted to say it in front of your mother.
Right.
And I said, wow. I said, that's powerful.
That's
powerful.
deep.
Yeah.
That's deep.
Yeah.
I know you said that your mom was a driving force in your life, but there's always that one friend that can either influence you in a positive direction or influence you in a negative direction.
Yeah.
Who was that person in your life, either or?
Man, it was like, one of my cousins. Like one of my cousins, he was in the street. He was heavy in the street. And one day, I go to Florida in the summers, and I was hanging with him, and I was we was just in the neighborhood, and one of his childhood friends just signed a letter of intent to Florida State.
Oh wow!
Yeah, one of the top running backs in the country. Everybody wanted, every school wanted him. We're in the neighborhood, pulls up, shoots him in the head, dies.
Wow!
All dreams gone.
Wow.
Everything. That moment right there, my cousin said, "Cuz, I'm putting you back on the plane. You going back home."
Wow!
Because he didn't want me to be in that environment.
Right.
Because he said, "Listen, you got dreams, goals, and aspirations." He said, "This is my life,
right,
not yours."
Yeah.
And that's what made me be like, you know what, like, saved my life too.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
My God.
that's
So
big.
that was a pivotal point for you. And I want to share something with you because you kind of touched me when you said that. My first cousin, Jamel Dennis, he was the first, he was a quarterback for Phoebus High School.
I remember Jamel.
That was my first cousin.
Wow.
He got killed after his game.
Yeah, absolutely.
You knew my cousin.
Yeah, like I heard the story.
Small world.
Yeah, story. I never forget that story.
Jamel,
Like,
that's my first cousin.
Yeah,
Jamel Dennis.
he was a star in the making.
Yeah.
No question.
Yep.
No question.
It hurt me. So hearing you say that, that's the first person I thought about.
Yeah, because you see it all the time, all across the country. You see kids that take sports and change their lives.
Yeah.
And some don't make it.
Yeah.
Because of the environment that they're in.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest thing that we see to this day.
Yeah.
We see it all the time. And that's the thing. Like that's what changed my life. I would change my life. Yeah.
One thing that I thought that was fascinating about your life is that you did grow up in a single parent home.
Mm-hmm.
And I know a lot of strength had to come from that. And here's the deal, Demeric is one of the best fathers that I know. So touch on us just a little bit about how influential it has been and how much strength you have to be not having a father around.
Mm-hmm.
And then how important it is for you now that you have been a father to be in your children's life. How important is that?
That was the reason for my father not being around. That's why I wanted to be there for my daughter. And, with my child, I always, no matter what I was doing, no matter where I was at, I always made her first.
Yeah.
So, you never know what you instill into your child until they turn 18. You feel what I'm saying? So,
true.
So once my daughter turned 18 and she had to make some decisions for herself, I saw that she listened and instilled in her, and once she got to JMU and, the co-ed dorms and all that and the freedom that she had day one, she never took advantage of it. She just went to school and, she just prospered. But it just showed me to this day, like, when she was 9 years old, she said, "Dad, I want to be a Delta." That's what she wanted to be. Like she wanted to be. I said, "Well,
okay."
You want to be?
How do you feel about that?
Because when I went to school, we weren't big in fraternities and sororities.
Right. Okay.
I thought I was myself.
Right. Yeah.
But also, the older I got, I saw the brother and sisterhood that they have across the world.
Right.
And how the impact that they have. And when she said it, I said, "No." I said, "That's what you want to do. What you want to do." Sophomore year, start filling out the paperwork, this and the third, and she's telling me, how much it's gonna cost, and but I do anything for my baby girl. So she did it. She's a Delta to this day, and she's graduated, and got my grandson.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's my inspiration too. Like my child, like she kept me going.
Yeah.
Kept me pushing. And that's the thing, because children watch their parents.
Absolutely.
And they watch what their parents do, how they do it, and you can instill things in them. But once they turn 18, you can see the things that they instill in them. So yeah.
Well, as a parent, we don't always get it right.
No.
Because parenting doesn't come with a handbook. It's not like you open up and say, "Hey, do X, Y, Z."
Yeah.
Right.
Have you ever did anything or said anything when it comes to your daughter where you feel like maybe you had a regret or you could have did it differently?
Yeah. I made some mistakes in my life. So, and I paid for the price from being away from my daughter for a little while. So when that happened, it was one of those things where I had to realize I made a mistake. And when I made a mistake, I said, "Man, listen, I'm not thinking about my child."
Right.
And that was a parent moment. But when you talk to your child, like I talked to my daughter, like we talking. And I explained to her and I talked to her, and she understands that, and she understands her dad is not perfect.
Right.
But one of the things my daughter always said to me, and this is what touched me and knew I raised a good child. She said, "Dad, I don't care. You bought me every shoe, every toy, every piece of clothing, but the most important thing that you did was to spend time with me."
Oh, time.
That's when I knew right there.
You can't get it back.
You can't get it back.
Can't
Can't
get it
get
back.
time back in. I tell the young fathers, I tell all of them, I said, no matter what it is, you can buy the latest G.I. Joe, the latest sneaker, all that. They not gonna remember that. They gonna remember the time.
The time.
Yeah, so you got to put the time in, and that's the biggest thing, like the time. Yeah, that's the biggest
It's a
thing.
big deal. I mean, it's times I go in my son's room and he's like, "Look, I just want you to sit down here and play with me."
That's it. That's it.
It sounds simple,
Yeah,
but that's what they care most about.
that's what they care most about, because they don't, they like the nice things, but they don't. They like the time. They like the time you spent. And when she told me that, it was, listen, I think I was balling for like 48 hours. Because I mean, that's what you want to hear as a parent.
Yeah.
Like the time is what it, like they I'm like, she get it.
Speaking about time, DK, recently you celebrated a 50-year-old birthday. What would the 50-year-old DK say to the 18-year-old DK if he had a chance?
Probably a lot.
But have patience. We don't have enough time to think.
Right.
Like a lot of times I be in the car with the radio off, and even going home, that's some of my best think time, because a lot of times when you're young like that, all you're doing is running. Just thinking about, you know what I mean? Like, what's my next plan? What's my next goal? What's my next this? But if you just sit down and have time to think, then you can plan.
Right.
Because a lot of times what we do is we fail to plan.
Right.
Sometimes we just like, you know what? We're going to do this. We're going to do that. And it's like, nah, you could have did that, planned that a few months ago.
Right.
And that's the biggest thing that what I probably would tell a young DK is plan.
Plan.
Ooh. Yeah.
Plan.
As simple as it sounds, you don't always do it. You don't push the thing, and then we make mistakes, and it's like, man, I should have did this.
Yeah.
But just slowing it down, taking that time to kind of map it out, right? Having a plan.
Because it takes no time for you to put a note on your phone and put a stamp in a date or anything as far as that you want to do something. A lot of times we don't plan, and a lot of times that's what people fail at business and things, because they don't plan.
Now, speaking of plan, have you always wanted to be an entrepreneur? Was it always on your radar?
No.
Oh,
okay. I brought up in a home where you get your college degree, this is
the American dream.
But the older I got and the more I traveled, I started seeing like just different things, and like, man, you know what? Like, they make a living for themselves.
Right.
And it's crazy. I was market manager for Verizon, and I took on another territory, and me not even thinking it's another territory, should be more money. Right. I didn't even think that. I just did it. I wanted to be a team player. And one day, it was an email that I didn't respond to, and my boss called me. And it was like, it was an email, the boss sent, and he's like, you and like two other people didn't respond, and he kind of got a little stern.
Right.
So I was like, well, I got two territories, and I'm doing I'm all over the place. I'm like, so I sat home that day, and through COVID and everything,
gosh almighty,
my business was flourishing. And it's crazy if you say through COVID, So I'm like, man, so I'm sitting here, I'm like, man, I'm making way more money for myself than I am at my job.
Right.
But you have that cushion because you're used to getting a paycheck. Right. So you're like, I'm not leaving that.
Because it's comfortability.
You know what's over here. Right. You don't know what's over here.
Wow.
It's the fear of
it's the fear of the unknown.
Correct.
So I'm sitting there, I'm like, man, and I'm contemplating. I'm like, you know what? And I say something to my mom about it, and she was like, well, I know it, she said, but if that's what you want to do it. And don't be hesitant about it. Right. Go ahead and put 2 feet in. Don't put 1 foot, put both feet in. Right. Got up next morning, called my boss. I said, hey, about to put my 2 weeks in. He was like, I said, yeah. He said, well, I'm about to go on vacation. Can you wait? I said, yeah, I'll wait till you get back. and after that week, that money got back, I emailed them my 2 weeks that morning.
Mm.
Man, I said, no, I said, when I told him, I said, that conversation we had is what I needed.
Wow.
Because I go above and beyond for y'all. But when one thing happens, you don't go above and beyond for me.
Wow.
And he said, yeah. They left it. He couldn't say anything.
Yeah.
He couldn't say anything. And
That's a
guess what?
bar. That's a bar right there.
That after that 2 weeks, after I stopped, they hired another person for the other territory. So they was just taking advantage of me with the territory because I wasn't asking for no money.
Wow.
So you realized at that point you were replaceable.
Yeah, I was replaceable.
And it was just, I don't say like a number, you being like a number, but it's like a number.
It's like a number. It's like, yeah, it's like what it's like, yeah, you can do everything for the company, but once one thing that don't go their way, then they'll tell you how they really feel. And once he told me that, listen, then he knew how I really felt.
Right.
And after that, there was no coming back. Like he was like, can you find a replacement? No, that's not my job. I don't get paid for that.
Right.
I do. And I let him know, like, listen here, that's it.
Wow.
I don't have no ties with you no more.
Wow.
Like we were kind of friends, but once he showed me that, I just realized, like you say, I'm a number.
Right.
I'm replaceable.
Right.
And go ahead and replace me because now I'm blessed to be where I'm at.
Yeah.
I am. I'm blessed to be.
So you it sounds like to me you saw more value in yourself.
Yeah.
At that point where you needed to move on.
Yeah.
Where you got no value from being with them.
Yeah, because you don't really see the value in yourself sometimes when you're working for a company or you're working for somebody else, and it's an everyday constant because you build a routine.
Right.
So your routine, you don't want to go left or right with your routine. You want to stay on your routine. You want to just keep doing it. Hey, I know my schedule. Hey, I know what I got to do.
Right.
But sometimes those type of situations show you what your value really is. Mm-hmm. And when you learn what your value is, and when you learn what your place is with certain people, then you're like, you know what? You got to value yourself.
Right.
Because nobody gonna pay you like you do, but also too, you have to put yourself first.
That's right.
Because if you don't, the company gonna listen, you're a number.
Nobody else will.
Nobody else will.
Wow.
That's the truth.
And that's the thing. And then, like you say, at first it was hard leaving and finding my groove. But once I found my groove and once I understand the freedom that I had to do what I wanted to do and how I wanted to do it, I made the best decision of my life.
That's good.
Yeah, I did. I made the best decision.
Speaking about relationships and making decisions, I've never been married. Moses has been happily married for how many years now? 15 years now. Demeric, you've been married and you've also been divorced.
Right.
Tell the people, what are some of the pros of being married and some of the cons of being married? And how have you taken on divorce and being single now?
It's work, but also too, it's a beautiful thing when you come together, when you have a partner, when you have somebody that understands you and you can count on another person. I think it's a wonderful thing. Sometimes when it comes to you and your partner, y'all are better off as friends. It's just the communication isn't there.
Right.
And it's not a bad thing. It's just sometimes it don't work out.
Right.
And if it don't work out, it's good to go your separate ways because sometimes you'll be in something that you're not happy, and then you'll fall into a deeper depression because you're not happy, and then you're not focused on the things that you want to do and your goals because you're not happy.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Right. So that's one of the things with me, and I think you just got to find your why. I always say you got to find your why.
That's big.
Your why, you then it's not really like work. It's not really because y'all not gonna like each other every day.
Right.
You know what I mean? You're not gonna,
that's true.
You're not.
That's true.
That's the thing about it. But if y'all find y'all peace on what's something that y'all like doing separately,
right?
But it brings y'all back together. That's the biggest thing of it all. You know, so you got to find your why, and if you find your why, then it's a beautiful thing. But if you keep butting heads and things ain't working, sometimes it's okay to let go.
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah,
because sometimes people, and you see it all the time, people commit suicide and doing things of that nature because they were afraid to let go.
Right.
Go. Like sometimes you take 10 steps back to go 20 steps forward.
Right.
And that's okay. That's okay.
Moving on to a single lifestyle, do you feel that made you stronger in a sense?
Yeah. Yeah. Made me strong. It made me strong because I'm not afraid to, you know, not settle for, what I want is what I want.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I'm a person that like communication is big.
Yeah.
Being honest, not with them, but only with yourself too.
Yeah.
Because if it's something that you don't like, it's something that you don't like. If something
Right.
you can't deal with, something you can't deal with. If something that's a great deal breaker, hey, it's there.
Right.
Because you can't force a person into something that you want them to be.
Right.
You can't do it. Like some
Right.
things may change, but some things are deal breakers that you just can't get over.
Would you marry again?
Yeah, of course.
What does that woman look like for you?
Man.
What does that woman look like?
What God sends me. I'm a person that never forces anything.
Right.
And I'm not going to force a relationship. I'm not going to force a marriage. I'm not going to force anything. That's something that organically has to happen.
Right.
And if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, I'm okay with that too.
Right.
Yeah. So.
Well, I would say that it's interesting you said, allowing God to really be the driving force of what that looks like. Relationships back then looked totally different than relationships.
Oh, yes.
So the world we live in now, and you think about social media, you think about perception of what's considered beautiful.
Yeah.
I think we've gotten away from the intelligence of a woman versus the way a woman looks.
Mm-hmm.
How is that affecting your decision making and allowing God to drive you and help you open your heart to situations like that?
And I was just talking to one of my friends. Our phones are our biggest downfall in a sense.
Ooh.
Because we didn't have that back then. You had to communicate. We had to communicate.
Talk about
it. If we didn't like each other, we didn't felt wrong.
Right.
We didn't have to put a subliminal message on social media and saying, "Is that for me?" Or your wife may feel a certain type of way because she put up a post and you thinking, "I know she's not talking about me."
Right.
Was that for me?
Bars.
But what it does is it creates tension.
Yes.
Because people think it's for them.
Right.
Back in the day, you didn't have that tension. Because guess what? We had to come to each other.
Yeah.
Talk about it.
It does hinder relationships, friendships, anything now, because anything somebody posts and it may have a difference and they'll think it's for them.
Right.
So now it's no communication. Instead of saying, you know what, get on the phone and call, hey, listen, let's work this thing out.
Right.
People don't do that no more.
Right.
They get social media. You can find out anybody business on social media.
Yeah.
And that's what I don't like.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's the biggest thing with me. The social media thing is good for business.
Right.
But when it comes to relationships, and like a lot of times now you see people say, you know what, keep your relationships and stuff off social media. Yeah. Because that brings you peace. To me, that brings peace.
Right.
I don't put my stuff out there and do all that, because a lot of times, misery loves company.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And that's the biggest thing.
There's nothing more than somebody feeling down about themselves.
Yeah.
To make somebody else on their level.
There you go.
To bring you down. So, I mean, it just creates, a falsity in your relationship.
It does.
To whereas you can't even really thrive. You don't even know why.
Yeah.
You're involved in the whole world. So,
whole world. And like you say, all I see all the time is people try to break people down to build themselves up.
Yeah.
And that's what social media is to me, because a lot of times, instead of them being happy for you, they want to feel a certain type of way because they're not the first one to do it.
Right.
And you took the initiative to do it.
Yeah.
So
that's that fake love, man.
and it's a lot of it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Wow. The 757 is up and rising. But when people talk about the entertainment business and sports, they always mention Los Angeles, New York, Florida, Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like, to me, Virginia gets left out so many times.
Mm-hmm.
What, in your opinion, and we just had a recent hire. Michael Vick got hired as the Norfolk coach.
Mm-hmm.
In your opinion, is Virginia neglected when it comes to being recognized, and what does Virginia bring to the world?
Like that one.
Yeah, Virginia get left out. But what they failed to realize is we had the #1 players back to back, #1 draft picks from Joe Smith to Allen Iverson to the #1
Say it again,
quarterback,
brother. Say
Michael
it
Vick.
again.
Michael Vick. People don't understand the talent that comes to it. Texas and Florida are some of the biggest states.
Yes.
They have those athletes. But if you put it all together with Virginia, they're right there with Florida and Texas with athletes.
Okay.
And the thing about it is, we don't have a professional team. But if we had a professional team, they will see the athletes in this backyard that they'll be like, hey, listen, wow, Virginia got some athletes.
Yes.
And we're going to see that with Michael Vick having these kids stay home.
Come on,
going to
man.
HBCUs, because now they can go and look up to a person that has made it. And that's all a lot of these athletes want to do, is saying, hey, that's why Dion does what he does, because he is a walking billboard.
Yes.
Yes.
Come on now.
He
Walking
can walk
billboard.
into that office and say, hey, I got a kid that he's off the radar. I got a kid. Give him a shot.
Give him a shot.
Give him a
Give
shot.
him a shot.
Give him a shot.
And a prime example is he has a kid, a wide receiver that plays for Arizona Cardinals. All he said was just get him into camp. And he made the roster.
Wow.
And that's all we want, is a chance.
There you go.
And that's what Michael Vick's going to give them. I'm telling you, it's going to be a domino effect. But what people don't realize about Michael Vick is Virginia Tech is watching.
Yeah.
So if he do 2 good years at Norfolk State, Virginia Tech is that is the ultimate home for him.
Okay.
So now people don't look at it like all they're doing is grooming him for Virginia Tech.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's
Wow.
amazing.
That's
Yeah.
big. That's big.
So when you think about 7 cities, you got Michael Vick, you got Allen Iverson, which I went to school with Allen Iverson. I think I was a year or two before him. And you look at all the talent, Missy Elliott.
Yeah, Missy for real. Yeah.
Yes.
Timberland,
Yeah.
Yes.
You know,
Chris Brown.
Chris Brown. Where do you see Virginia in the next 10 years?
Oh.
Wow. I think we're going to see Virginia really get what they deserve when it comes to having a professional team, having venues, and having not look at, they call Virginia like a CD market, not an A market. And I think it's going to be an A market, because if you see the moves that Pharrell is doing, and now the Missies and the people are coming back and coming to the community now, we're going to start seeing some of these Fortune 500 companies coming into the area.
Yeah.
And once they come into the area, it's more jobs, create more jobs. And once we get that one company that's world renowned and bring a team, Virginia in the next 10 years is going to be something special. It's an opportunity, because I tell people, stay ready. So you got to get ready, because it's coming. I can see the transformation that you can see just a little bit here and there.
Right.
You're starting to see, like the Missy's coming home, the Pharrells is coming home.
Yeah.
You're starting to see people starting to come back home.
Right.
And that's one of the biggest things that you will see. Even Allen Iverson is doing Amazon Prime documentary. I think it's finished. I think it's finished, but you will see he made sure that it's about him, his home bringing. The last one about him, now he want to show the person.
Right.
Those are the things that the companies and people are going to start seeing and say, man, Virginia's untapped. A lot of it's untapped.
Yeah.
But also, too, we're going to get those people that's still I always say, is in the midst of not want to giving us our 40 acres in the middle.
That's right.
Want to get them out the way, So, but I think in the next 10 years, they're going to be something special. Because, some in the water was a start. And just those things, and you starting to see the Mike Vicks, and you just starting to see prominent people in key places.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest thing. You start to see Aaron Rouse, and he started moving his way up, in the government sector. So you starting to see things move.
So when it comes to entrepreneurship, tell us a little bit about what you do specifically.
Yeah.
And how that will contribute to that driving force over the next 10 years.
I always call myself a lifestyle specialist, but I've been in marketing for years, doing marketing, and a lot of, what I do is marketing, the events, done events, Allen Iverson, I've done events, Missy Elliott. I've done a lot of events. So marketing is a key in this area.
Right.
Because a lot of times, you know, these service places, a lot of times they don't have time for marketing. Like one of my homeboys, he's going to be director of football NSU.
Mm-hmm.
And he called me about some marketing things, you know. So it's like marketing is key. It's big, you know, especially a lot of Fortune 500 companies, when they lay off, the first thing they do is they get rid of marketing.
Right.
Because those are the jobs that go. But
right.
once you do it for yourself, you know, you can get those contracts and get those things as far as, because a lot of times people don't want to do the groundwork. You know, they don't want to do it. I want to be Nike the next day. And it's like, no, it takes time.
It's levels, right?
It's levels to this.
You know, in the lifestyle, you know, creating a lifestyle, you know, you gotta put in the work. You gotta be on the ground, and you gotta be places sometimes you don't want to be.
Right.
You know, but
that's a bar.
you know, those are the connections that you have, when the places that you be like, man, I didn't even want to go.
Right.
And then you get 4 or 5 connections, you know, and just be like, wow, you know, because you never know where you're gonna meet somebody that's gonna elevate you to the next level, or just, you know, give you good gems, or just put you in a, you know, in another room, you know.
Right.
And I always say, like, you know, I like to hear my name in different rooms.
Right.
And people say, no, call him, or, you know, like, you know, he'll get it done, or, you know, like, ask him, you know.
Right.
I like that.
Wow. Yeah. So we're almost out of time, but we want to here on the 88,000, we always want to do a game real quick, and we want to do the greatest of all time, and then right after that, Moses is going to hit you with our final question. But the greatest of all time, who you got? Chris Brown or Michael Jackson?
I'm a big Mike fan.
Okay.
I love Mike.
Okay.
Now, if we come into straight, you know,
all around catalog, everything. We talking about everything. Greatest of all time. Chris Brown, Mike Jackson.
I gotta give it to Mike.
Okay. Gotta get respect.
Listen, Mike having people passing out in booty
Facts.
So I haven't seen Chris. You know, Mike had the military running behind him in the street, and Chris ain't done that.
Okay.
That's true.
You know,
okay.
So Chris ain't done certain things. Like Mike had the world.
Okay.
Passing out.
You know, had the military running. He, you know, running through a different country, and like Chris ain't done that yet. But Chris he's there. I think, you know, if he wouldn't have went through the Rihanna situation, I think he'll be neck and neck with Mike.
Right.
You know, now you got to give him his credit. He's going to be one of the best when he's done and finished.
MJ or LeBron?
That's a 2-part.
Go ahead. Okay.
So you said something about Chris Brown. Chris Brown went through what he went through with Rihanna, which set him back. But let's not forget Michael Jackson.
Definitely.
He's been through a lot.
Definitely. Talk about it. What
do you think the difference was in how they handled it and how they rebounded from both of those situations?
I think a lot of times, you know, if you get it from you listen to like Beyonce and Jay-Z, right? Sometimes you have to be silent. And because no matter what you say, they're gonna take it and run with it. See, Mike, he came out and said, listen, but he was silent. Play out in the court.
Yes.
Chris, he comes from a younger generation.
Got it.
So he goes with the phone. So he's always saying something to combat what somebody else saying, or he's trying to get his point across.
Right.
Just let it play out in your music.
Right.
Take your pain out of your frustration on your music. And once you do that, everything else will play itself out.
Yeah.
And that's one of the great things that I like about Beyonce and Jay-Z. You know, no matter what comes out, you're not going to see them respond.
Yeah.
You're not going to. The only thing he responded because he, you know, you're like, this is a blatant lie. But sometimes silence is golden.
Right.
And just let it play out. You know,
what you say can't hurt you.
What you say can hurt you.
Yeah.
And you see it all the time. You know, you see Diddy now.
Oh yeah.
The worst thing he could ever do is come out and say something
Yes.
social media and,
Yes.
and his kids and like no, like just be silent.
Yeah,
That's what we pay lawyers for.
that's right.
That's what we do.
Talk about it. Talk about it. All right, LeBron, MJ.
Well, I'll say this. I consider Mike the greatest on the court, but I consider LeBron the greatest off the court.
Wow. It's a bar. It's a bar, brother.
Because Mike
It's
was
a
scared
bar.
to say anything because of he didn't want the people to take his endorsements.
Mhm.
LeBron is scared to speak up
Right,
for the
Mm.
culture.
right.
So that's the difference.
Yeah.
So I say Mike's the greatest on the court and LeBron's the greatest off the court.
All right. Lastly, we're gonna and a lot of y'all might not pick up this, but we know what we're talking about. So we'll do high school. All right. So we're gonna do Allen Iverson, Mike Vick, or Ronald Curry. Who's the greatest? Just high school.
Ooh.
Just high school.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
And all around package. All around package. Mike Vick, Ronald Curry, Allen Iverson.
Woo.
So
Powerhouse is right there.
Talk about it. Talk about it, DK.
I love Chuck.
Uh-huh.
I'm always put him.
Yes.
I'm always gonna put him number one.
Okay.
But
Okay. But
that boy Ronald
can't take nothing away from that boy Ronald Curry.
I've never seen somebody throw the ball 70 yards on the rope. I've never seen the thing that he's done. And I think the biggest part about it is the person that he is too.
Mhm.
So I think that's what stands for him. And that's what like Ron, but Chuck is my number one. I'm always gonna be the Allen Iverson. He just his IQ, like I talked in the documentary
Yeah.
and they interviewed me. And the first thing I said was we always talk about Chuck as the great athlete, or we talk about what he does. I say, but y'all never talk about his IQ.
Right.
Like he's one of the smartest people when it comes to that visualizing and say he's going to do something. I mean, he tell you, I'm about to do this, I'm about to do that,
Right.
and he does it.
Right.
I'm talking about does it. I'm like, he said the first play of the game, I'm gonna get it done. First play of after the football state championship, he gets it done.
Wow.
We sitting back there, team scores, touchdown. He said, don't worry about it. We're gonna tie it up, and then it's a tie game, and then we're gonna win it.
Yeah.
Tied it up next play. We won the game. But
Wow.
that's just him, and he'll coach you. He's a coach on the field. But
Right.
he's a person that has a wonder, like his IQ is amazing. And that's why, everybody talk about practice, but his IQ,
Was on point.
like when it's time to get on that dance floor,
Yeah.
he gonna dance with the best of them.
Yeah.
And let me say this: off the court and off the field, Allen Iverson, Bubba Chuck, is the most intelligent human beings that I know.
Yeah, of course.
Even off the court and off the field, he's the most intelligent
Yeah.
human beings.
Because he
that I
pays
know.
attention to everything.
Yes, he does.
And he knows, like you, I be thinking he don't pay attention to social media and
Yeah.
what I'm doing,
Right.
and he'll quote something. I'd be like, he was like, yeah, I pay attention to everything. It's like, and I just, and I think, when we talk about Allen too, being from here,
Mhm.
I think once people see this documentary, they're gonna see him in a different light as far as for him, the person. And the people that are speaking on this one is the people that personally know him from his hometown,
Right.
and the
Right.
places. And I think that's what people really want to, see Allen Iverson, the person. Like they
Yeah.
want to, because they see all the other stuff and hear all the other things that goes on. But it's like him as the person. He's one of the most loyal people that you ever meet.
Talk about it.
Oh yeah.
Like, listen,
Talk about it.
you can make 19 mistakes,
Yeah.
and he's still gonna be there for them 19 mistakes.
That's right.
He's gonna be,
Yeah.
he gonna be right there with you,
Yeah.
no matter what. So.
All right. So lastly, of course, our podcast is called 80 for 80,000. And we want to get into the biggest question of the night. And before Moses asks you this question, Demerit, we want to make sure when you answer this, we want to get to the side of the humanistic side of you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Moses, go ahead with the final
So-
question.
Big question in the room. Are you living for 80 years, the next 80 years? Or are you living for the next 80,000 years?
Mm.
In other words, are you just living for now? Or if not, are you living for the next 80,000 years? And what are you doing now to prepare for the next 80,000, how you live and impact you leave on this earth?
That's a great question because, a lot of times me going through what I've been through, a lot of times I have to check myself for taking life for granted.
Mm-hmm.
And when it comes to your health and it comes to things like that, my immune system is different from y'all. So I have to be more careful so that I can see the 80,000 years. And that takes steps as far as just being aware and making sure I'm taking my vitamins and doing, trying to exercise. And, I don't do that all the time. But I say in 2025, I need to be more cognizant of that so that I can live 80,000 years. And that's the thing. I think health is the new wealth.
Right.
And I've in the last, I think maybe 2 weeks, probably lost maybe 4 or 5 friends. And the majority of it is health, like high blood pressure.
Right.
Is real big in Black men.
Yes.
And a little pill, like one of my friends, she's a nurse practitioner, and she said, in the ER, the majority of heart attack that she see could be prevented if they take the little pill. And we don't want to take the pill because of, the after effects and all this, but
side effects,
but it saves your life.
Right.
And that's the thing. Like, health is the new wealth.
Right.
And it's every day, the older we get, that's the biggest part of our generation.
Do you promote quarterly checkups with the doctor?
Do I promote it?
Yes, for everybody, for all, especially Black men of our age.
Like,
yes.
Anybody I get in contact to, like, especially with cancer, because in October, there's gonna be my first cancer gala that I'm doing. And
wow.
And it's I want to promote it more because the food we eat,
right?
Even from the phones. Like, my mother says it all the time. She think I got cancer from my phone. She says it all the time from the, she says it all the time.
Yeah.
And that's why
I've heard about that too.
Yeah, I don't hold the phone up to my ear or anything like that. I speak a phone or stuff like that. But that's the thing. Like, we gotta be more out there, and you myself, because high blood pressure, just health, or just taking 30 minutes of walk. We take it for granted. We take life for granted, but God always reminds us through others that don't take it for granted.
No, you can't.
I had a friend who had colon cancer last year, and he died a few days ago.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But it's one of those things how cancer can come and take you away that fast.
Yeah.
And having a heart attack can take you away that even faster.
Yeah.
Because you never know. We had another friend that had a stroke, leaving one of the restaurants, Saute, and he was driving, had a stroke in the car, and the lady saw him, and he called the cops, but unfortunately he passed too.
Oh.
But also too, is just like you say, health it's everything now.
Yeah.
Because the older we get, I always say the parents get older, everybody gets older. So, but also we got to just take heed to the science, because sometimes we may have chest pains, and we might not, it's chest pain.
Just brush it off. Yeah.
Have something to check your blood pressure.
Yeah.
Like, I have something to check my blood pressure all the time.
Wow.
But you gotta have those things.
Yeah.
But at first it was a not cool moment. We say, man, I ain't taking no pills.
Right.
I ain't taking them. No, you got to, because your blood pressure can take you out.
Too.
Yeah, quick.
Yeah.
And you see it, like, they was just here yesterday.
Yeah.
And the saying that I always say, and we used to say it all the time, my parents used to say it all the time, is we'd be here today and gone tomorrow. That's changed. We'd be here today and gone today.
Right. And that's why we name our podcast 80 or 80,000.
Yeah.
Because to your point, life is short.
It is.
So the little time we spend on Earth, 80 or so years, impacts how we live for the next 80,000 years.
It does.
What impact do you want to leave when you're gone?
Man, I just want to impact the younger generation. It's one of the things that I'm doing now. Working on my nonprofit, Tech for Kids. A lot of times we see in the urban communities, the kids don't have the basic essentials of, like, tech,
Right.
like laptops,
Yeah.
stuff like that. And we always preach to kids sports is your way out.
Right.
Tech can be your way out.
Absolutely.
Because you can make so much money in tech that you can, dribbling the ball,
Yes.
playing football, because the percentage of you making it crow are very slim.
Very slow.
Yeah, but the odds of you making it in tech are whatever you want to make it.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that I'm working on as far as my nonprofit. And I just want to give back that way, just because we don't go into those communities and we don't give people a chance, because we push certain things on them.
Right.
And you be like, text, you can do coding, you can do
Right.
all of that and still make a wonderful living. And you can do what you want with it.
Not everybody can rap or shoot hoop, right?
There you go.
And
those
statistics of people making it for basketball, man, listen, it's but yeah, check for kids, man. That's one of my things that
What's your nonprofit that you're trying to do again?
Yeah, it's Socialite Tech for Kids.
Okay.
Yeah, so and that's one of the things.
That's powerful.
Because I've been in tech for years, but also too, my friends, I got a few friends that are in tech. And that's one of the biggest things that I see myself and interact with kids. They don't know.
Right.
But also too, we push them to, like trades. Trades are big now.
Yeah.
Because now kids don't have that debt if they go to college, because sometimes they go to college 4 years and they still don't know what they want to do.
Exactly.
But if you push them in, trades and tech, listen here.
Yeah.
You get your certification. You can do this, a cert, an A+ cert to get you started. And you can
CompTIA Plus.
Yeah, CompTIA Plus. All those certs, every cert you get is almost like a degree.
Yeah.
But guess what? You don't have no debt.
No debt, and you can go right into the workforce.
You go right into the workforce.
Or you start your own company.
Or you start your own company. Get your government contract.
That's right.
That's it. And there's so many different avenues for them to go instead of always pushing sports. And that's what we have, like sports your way out. No, it's a few make it out, but it's a lot that don't.
Yeah.
And they don't know what to do because that's what they was pushed at. And their parents, they don't know where to go because they didn't get the D1 scholarship.
Right.
Or they didn't get this, or they didn't get that. And it's like, no, I mean, tech.
Go to tech.
You said you can make more than they can. Not for real.
So lastly, DK, it's 2025.
Mm-hmm.
In 2125, 100 years from now, finish this statement. Demeric Kirk was a
blessed individual.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, I am who I am, but I'm a person of, I spread love, and I always want to put other people on.
Yeah. Because
people put me on.
Yeah.
And also, like you got to give back, and that's the person I am. I'm just a person of love, and I want to see all my friends make it. I want to see all my friends do great things, but I always say too, you can take them to the well, but you can't make them drink. Yeah. And that's what I've learned over these years. And, I learned a life lesson. Stefano, take it what it is. I had a friend, I took him to the well, and he didn't want to drink. He wanted my drink instead of his own.
That happens. Yeah.
And that happens.
Yeah.
And those are life lessons that you get from friends. You can be 30 years friends.
Yeah.
But also too, you got to let that go too.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you trying to hold people down that don't want to hold themselves down.
That's right.
You elevate yourself. And ever since I did that, I've elevated even higher.
There we go.
Blessings speak for. And that's what God give you those signs. You gotta take these things.
Come on now.
And that's the thing,
We want to thank y'all. This has been an amazing first podcast.
Give it up for Demeric, y'all.
Give it up for Demeric.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate you.
My man.
Thank you.
I love you, brother.
Love you too. Brother.
We're gonna have more to come. We hope y'all enjoyed the podcast. My name is Stefano Smooth Lewis. This is and we just want to thank y'all and be back soon with another guest. All right,
80,000.
80 or 80,000.
Which one you living for?
Which one you living for?